Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Rugby with Pads. I'm your host Sam, and today, you thought we were done with drafting. No. Still a couple of days left for you guys. This will be coming out on the 28th. It's a couple of days before my main league draft, and this is what the main league is all about. This is my home league. You're going to take a look at what I'm doing with my home league, but along the way as well, it's not just going to be vanity. I'm going to be talking a little bit about my guys, and maybe it is vanity. I've taken a look, and I did last week. I did my best picks by round. Obviously, I took the Monday off. It's bank holiday here in the UK, and I've come back. And on this Thursday, I want to give you a view of the guys I think you should be leaving your draft with, and the guys who I'm going to try and leave my draft with. I've completed all but 2 of my drafts now, maybe 3. I think I've got one more best ball. And I've taken a look at the guys I've got at various different positions, how many of them I've got as well, who my most popular players are, and really try and give you a view of who I think you should be leaving with based on that. Okay, so with that said, let's get into this. And, this is my draft board. This is my draft board that I'm going with. It's a one-keeper league. This is who we're expecting to keep. They've all been locked in now. I am keeping Jaden Daniels in the 9th. I want to get out of here in about 20 minutes. So, you know what? Without further ado, let's draft here, shall we? This is a 10-person half PPR league. So you pretty much know who I'm going to be looking to get at the end of the first. I'm drafting 10th. Oh my God. And I love to talk about him, but he's just left me. Christian McCaffrey is just a my guy. He's got an ADP of 13 at the moment, which is criminal, but he's crept up the board just a little bit, and it's left me in a position that I can't take him. And I think I would take him all the time if I could. At the very least, at the kind of 10, the 1-2 split here, he is perfect because he gives you so much of an advantage. But I think I want someone who, with him gone off the board, I think I want someone who's going to be a bit more reliable, but still give you a little bit of an edge. And I'm looking at Ashton Genty. I've got more shares of CMC because I've been at the end of drafts. If I look at my shares of Ashton Genty, I will only have 1 at the moment, I think. I think I've got him. And you know what? I'm penciled in to get him because I've got the 101 in another keeper league. But Ashton Genty, you're going on my league. And I've got him in the keeper league 101 because, you looked at that last week. Very weird league. Another guy who is very early on to me, who I know is probably not going to come back at this rate. No, you know what? We'll get into it in a minute. We'll see where they get drafted, these my guys. But for me, at the 1-2 turn, I think in this kind of league, I think I've got to go wide receiver at this point. And the guys who are appearing at the top of my list here, I love Puka Nacua. He's someone I want to avoid in the first round, but this is basically a first round pick, which is right there. I don't like Brian Thomas there as well. I just love Lad McConkey, and I think he would be one of my guys, but I've got other players in there as well. He is someone that I'm loading up on, I think has great potential, and I want to balance this team out early on, especially seeing as I know I've got my keeper quarterback later on. Rest of the second round goes out a hit. Yeah, Puka Nacua, Devon A. Chan go shortly thereafter. Jonathan Taylor, Brock Bowers goes, Bucky Irving, who's that? Jackson Smith and Jigba. Coming back to me at the turn, the team 1 has gone for 3 wide receivers. They've got Cook as their keeper as well. It comes back to me, McBride, and unfortunately, this is the guy I didn't want to come back, and is another one of my guys. It is, of course, George Kittle. How can it not be? I've put him in the flex position here because I don't think he's very available to me. I just like talking about Kittle. He's just so good. Go and watch him. You'll be amazed. So at this place, I'm staring down the barrel, and I want another wide receiver and quarterback pairing. And I think one of the guys I do want to have a look at, who isn't my guy, is MHJ, Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm going to pick him up now and talk about him just for a second. The same reasons I like Kyler this year, and let's not be silly about it. Kyler is in another one of my guys. I'm having so much of him. If I look through, I think I've got 3 or 4 shares of him in 33% of my leagues or something like that. He is definitely my guy, and MHJ is often paired with him. I think I've got him on just all of those but one. But he would be someone that I'm really interested in taking. And there's a lot of guys around this mark that I'm really interested in taking. But MHJ, I think he's got all the tools to be a number 1. Has really high upside. I don't think it harms him the fact that he has Kyler, because I think Kyler is going to be great this season. So yeah, he's someone I'm all in on. And at this point, I'm just trying to think of this. Is a standard 2 running back, 2 wide receiver setup. And who do I want here? The top guys at tight end have gone already. Kittle's gone. That's really annoying. I'm not fancying Sam Laporta. I think he's just a bit of a guy. So I'm left in a bit of a situation where I don't really know who I'm going to pick up. But I think based on purely the fact that I have the stack with Daniels, I'm going to have to pick up Terry McLaurin and hope that he's going to get himself. I think he's off the pup now, but he's going to get his contract situation sorted out sooner rather than later. A bunch of other guys who I love talking about. I've talked about a lot during draft season. James Conner goes on the way back. Lamar Jackson was obviously a keeper in the 5th. That is immense value. Cortland Sutton, DJ Moore goes. A bunch of wide receivers. A couple of those kind of mid-round running backs go. Amarian Hampton went just before me in the 3rd, by the way. He was someone that I would have loved to have picked up. But at this point, coming to the end of the 5th, this is where I keep taking one of my guys who I think is going to be fantastic. And he is at such a draft steal at this point. He's probably not going to come back to me, but I'm going to pick him up. It's Travis Kelce. He's available in the 6th for most. He's tied to Mahomes. It just makes sense. He looks better. All the stuff coming out of camp means he's going to be better. And he is someone that I definitely want a piece of. But I need a running back to pair with him, I think, at this place. I'm probably not going to push it for running back if I don't have to, if the right guys don't come up. But someone who I was high on early on the season, who I've maybe soured on a little bit, is RJ Harvey. I'm definitely up on Trevor Henderson. Yes, he's getting a lot of 3rd down work in preseason, but I think he's going to carve out a mean position there. And I'm probably going to start stacking up on running backs, seeing as I've got 3 wide receivers already. So Trevor Henderson, get in my team. So I start off the draft. Ashton Genty, Lad McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr., Terry McLaurin, Travis Kelce are my guy. And Trevion Henderson, someone who I don't have many shares of, just haven't had the opportunity for him. I chose him over RJ Harvey. I think it's a good choice. And of course, I've got Jaden Daniels with that stack as well as my keeper. That's what it is. Sorry, I'm rushing through this. I'm getting kind of all worked up because this is going to be kind of live data. I'm going to have kind of this kind of time to think about things. Comes back to me. A bunch of other guys have gone. Teteran McMillan I really like. Baker Mayfield would have been great at that position. Isaiah Pacheco I'm completely avoiding, as I am Ridley as well. He's not of interest to me, but a couple of guys have come good. I've talked about him a lot. Chris Olave just seems like a stabilizing force. He's the guy you want in your kind of wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 spot. I think spot. Sorry, he's someone that's really good, but I think above him, the upside to me of Jalen Waddle just is calling me. I think the injury risk is the only thing that differentiates these two for me. Jalen Waddle, you're going to be my 4th, probably final for a little while, wide receiver, as I hunt for some value at running back. There are a bunch of guys that I want to avoid here, and yeah, it keeps coming back to it. But Tyron Tracy, I don't think has a great view. Jaylen Warren is the most boring pick in the world, it feels like. I just can't convince myself to do it. But do you know who I'm going to pick up on? Because we have an IR spot, I'm going to pick up Chris Godwin. Yes, I think all the chat today, in fact, today is being recorded on the 21st, is that he's going to come off the pup. Amazing. He might not be available until week 3 or 4 still, but they want to give flexibility for practice time. I think he's still a great pickup. Week 1 to 7 last year, he was the wide receiver 2 in PPR. He was wide receiver 4 in half PPR. Amazing pickup, and I think you should have him. And I'm probably going to pair him with someone who is definitely a my guy, and probably should be available around this mark. Let's look at him, as he hasn't been already drafted. I've obviously got 2 picks, so I'm going to pick him up as my first one, and just going to. I want to talk about him. Egbuka is that late round. Oh, I don't have 2 of them. I've gone for my 5 wide receivers. I've gone for Egbuka. I think he can cover early on. I probably should have gone Pearsall, and this is why we draft, guys. Because on the 9-10 split, I had Jaden Daniels already. Got Egbuka here. Plenty of reasons. I've talked to him about him lots before, but early season, he's going to be great. In 11 personnel, he's still going to carve out a role. I think he's going to be fantastic. Tyler Warren is probably a player I should have looked at, and he is a late round guy. He's probably going in the 9th, 10th round of most 12 personnel drafts. He's not too late in terms of my kind of late round my guys, but he is a fantastic player, and I think he's going to carve out. Especially now that Daniel Jones is there, I'm even further arrows up on him, and I'm actually even more interested in him, which is a bit kind of counterintuitive, but you know what, it is what it is. Another my guy that I'm looking at now, and I'm looking at Jaden Blue. One of my guys who I would have loved to pick up in the 10th is Zach Charbonnet. We'll talk about both of them. Charbonnet is going to take over that backfield. I think he is. I think he's such a great pick. He's probably going to have to hold on to him, and you've got to have some stomach to do that. You've got to wait for an injury potentially, wait for a blip, wait for a run to happen. But he is so good. So I'm going to go for the upside. I'm going to go for late round running backs of Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue, he's small and feisty. He's potentially a bit of a late bloomer as well, but he could be a very useful weapon for Dak, who has a worse offensive line this year, in my opinion. And he's going to have to dump off the ball a little bit. And this guy's weirdly great in pass protection and great on third downs. So he's someone that I am looking towards massively as well. At this point in the draft, I'm just hunting for upside. I'm looking for early season wins and players who I think are going to play a lot early doors. I'm looking at Nick Chubb at this one. I think he's going to be, again, another good guy to have in your squad early on, especially with Mixon coming off the pup. And Mixon may not come back fighting fit. It may just be a committee. And Nick Chubb has proven himself. He's had a year out, basically. We don't know how he is. I would have also liked Tank Bigsby, but I think there's equal parts of uncertainty there. But I'm going to finish off the draft, and another guy that I would draft if I was taking two QBs here would be Drake May. He's another late round my guy. He's sneaky quick. He's agile. He can get you points on the ground. If he can get you 300-400 yards on the ground this year, that's like scoring another 5 touchdowns. That's what you need in your quarterback. That upside as well. But as I'm coming towards the end of my draft, I'm thinking about all the players I've got to pick. 13th, 14th pick here. It's just a practice I've been starting to do. I'm going to try and take, if they're available, the Cardinals available. I know you should never really take defenses until the end, but in certain drafts I think taking them one before makes a bit of sense. Plus it gives me better keeper status next year as well. I'm just going to pick up a random kicker. I'm picking up the Cardinals because they have a great week 1 matchup, and we will talk about our matchups in an upcoming episode next week, I believe, before the 4th. Maybe actually on the 4th it will come out as well. But my final pick of this draft, I'm just going to find someone who I really like. You know what, I'm going to try and pick up someone I like a lot, and I think I need some additional. And you know what? Someone who I've had so much exposure to, and I can't stop getting him, is Isaiah Likely. He's perfect in best ball, probably not best for this format, but I'm going to be looking for, if he's available, Mason Taylor. Yeah, I think he's a great tight end prospect, and I think you could do worse than having him on your squad. So that leaves us with a final draft of. There's a final draft of Jaden Daniels, who was obviously my keeper, Ashton Genty, Trevion Henderson, Lad McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr., Travis Kelce, Terry McLaurin, Cameron Dicker, Arizona Cardinals, Jalen Warren, Chris Godwin, Igbuka, Blue, Chubb, and Taylor. Blue, Chubb, and Taylor. That sounds like a weird concoction or drugs cocktail. But as I said, today wasn't just about me drafting my team and getting a bit of practice reps and stuff like that. Obviously, I was a little bit rusty having taken Igbuka and Godwin 2 rounds apart. That was a bit silly on my part. This is why you draft. Yeah, this is why you mock, to get out the rust. But it was about giving you an idea of the guys I think are going to set you up for success. So let's give you that in order. I've got 10 guys, early draft guys and late draft guys. The early draft guys, Kyler, 7th, 8th round. He's not early, but he does not give up a position worse than QB 1 to 10. I've got him as my QB 8 on the season. I think he's going to perform above that, though. CMC, if he'd fallen to me, this would have made the perfect podcast episode because I would have set up my draft, but it didn't, and I've just got to be aware that it might not happen for me this year. But his ADP of 13 is absolutely criminal. You don't want to get beaten out to him. If you can trade up a couple of spots in your draft, if you've got that kind of league, I'd do so just to go pick him up. MHJ, he's available at the end of the 3rd, going into the 4th. For most drafts in 12-man, probably more like 3rd. Same reason I like Kyler. I like MHJ. You want the top weapon attached to him. I think he is a better value compared to where you're drafting him than Trey McBride, even though they're only half a round apart. Travis Kelce is the tight end for me. I still think he has massive wide receiver one upside. He's tied to Mahomes. I think it just makes sense. I've just got a feeling. But if I could choose any tight end, it would, of course, be Kittle. So my early draft guys, Kyler, CMC, MHJ, Kelce, and Kittle. For obvious reasons, he's a monster. In the late rounds at QB, I've talked about Drake May. Didn't pick him up in this one, but I think he's sneaky good. Zach Charbonnet will be the lead back eventually in that lineup. Egbuka, likewise, could be the lead wide receiver in that lineup this season at some point. He will carve out a role in 11 personnel. Early season, he will carve out a role in 12 personnel. Not that they're going to do a lot of that, but he will always be the second guy in the early part of the season. He will always be the third guy in the late part of the season. I think he's great value. And he looks like a number one. He's poised to take over for next year, definitely. Definitely someone I'm going to be looking to keep next year, potentially. Looking for him in Dynasty. Tyler Warren is a great late round tight end. I think he could perform up to those Sam Laporta, Trey McBride early years. I think he's that good. Getting him in the 10th is an absolute steal. And finally, Jaden Blue, small, feisty guy. If you're looking for late round running backs, I think he works out really well. But there's so many good running backs in this draft class that, I think you're spoiled for choice. Sorry, it's a bit rushed today. I needed to get this out quickly because I'm going on holiday tomorrow. As I said, I've been away. By the time you're watching this, I've been away on the Monday. Anyway, all good. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this pod, please like, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. If you want to support us, go look at us on socials at Rugby with Pads. You can go to rugbywithpads.com, get a membership for as little as £1, get yourself some cheaper merch, and we do some fun stuff on there as well. It's all through Buy Me a Coffee, all above board. Really love to see you there as well. But without further ado, let me just say thank you very much. And because this is probably going to be the final time I talk to you before your proper redrafts, before I'm doing my redraft, all of this kind of stuff. Love to compare notes at the end of the day. Good luck in your drafts. I really do mean that. Unless you're drafting against me, then I wish that I get all the players. I snipe you massively across the board. You've got an advantage if you're playing against me because you've heard all my thoughts throughout the summer. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all extremely soon on the Virtual Gridiron.